Welcome back everybody to the Wandering Samurai Study, in which we review and analyze every single act told in Rurouni Kenshin, and today's act is Act 15. 16? No, wait, 17. The Oniwaban attack. God, I legitimately could not remember the act that we were in. I think it's just because I uploaded Act 14 moments ago, so you guys should be seeing that. I don't really have a whole lot to preface before actually getting into the act and getting into the chapter summary, so I think I'm just gonna go ahead and leave it quick and short and just tell you guys all, because I don't know if I'm gonna find the moment to later, but this act had some of my favorite jokes ever in Rurouni Kenshin, specifically two. I think that some of you guys can guess with the Watsuki joke. Kenshin apparently has really bad handwriting, worse than Watsuki's. I can't even imagine what bad handwriting looks like in Japanese. I don't know, maybe Kenshin needs to take a calligraphy class. Maybe he was busy, fighting a civil war, to learn proper penmanship. I just love self-deprecating humor. It's one of my favorites. I do it all the time in my personal life. You know, people like you better if you can laugh at yourself. It's just a little tip for you. Also, the second joke that I want to get into really quickly is the Yahiko joke. And it's not even what he says. It's not even, well, it's exactly what he does. He is standing upright in the manga panel underneath the floorboards to catch Kenshin off guard. There's this, the previous panel, you see Kenshin, I see you, or something like that. And it's to make you guys think that the Oniwaban are about to attack, and then you zoom underneath and you find Yahiko standing upright, squished underneath the floorboards. It's fantastic. It's the reason that I love Yahiko in the manga. It is this joke specifically that made me love Yahiko in the manga. Also, this is one of those jokes that is totally lost in the anime. They completely flubbed the joke. Alright, so let's go ahead and get into the chapter summary. Now that Kenshin is committed to protecting Megumi, he's gathered info on Kanryu, his private army, and the Oniwaban, but she still refuses to talk about the opium. Kenshin and Senosuke begin to discuss their plan of action, and Kenshin assures Kaoru that he will not allow a repeat of the Jinai situation. Although Kenshin and Senosuke decided to keep tight-lipped about the situation, Yahiko and Kaoru find out just in time as the Oniwaban's Hyotoko, Hanya, and Beshimi ready their attack. Senosuke and Kenshin both try their hand at Hyotoko, and Megumi attempts her escape during the chaos, but Kaoru stops her. I think that this act in particular is a very good example, or a very good showcase for why Kaoru is such a good girl, or such a good character, or a great love interest for Kenshin. All things considering, her being 17 and Kenshin being 28, but none of that really matters, right? I just kind of remember that at the top of my head. No, I think that Kenshin and Kaoru being each other's love interest, I think it's further implemented here into the story. Of course, Kaoru being jealous or being concerned for Kenshin being in the room for such a long time with Megumi is adorable in a way, but it makes sense in all things, with all things considered. Especially since the last act, Megumi actually just outright said that she wants Kenshin for herself. She thinks that he's a handsome man and that he's very capable. Of course, that's gonna cause alarm, and she probably still thinks that Kenshin won her in a bet. But without Kenshin really revealing anything to Kaoru, I think it's it shows that they have an understanding of each other, because, Senosuke tells her not to worry, but also, it's when Kenshin tells Kaoru that he's not going to allow another situation like the Jinai one to occur. With that being said, Kaoru now knows the position that Kenshin is in, also, and Senosuke telling Kaoru that Kenshin is weak for protecting people. Kaoru understands that, okay, even though she doesn't get to know right now answers will be given when everything is settled. And I like that. I like that. That's pretty great for Kaoru to have that understanding with Kenshin, reminding herself that Kenshin really is a sucker for helping people who are in need of help. Megumi continues to be Megumi as far as we know. She continues to be sly. She really does embody the caricature of the fox woman of the group, Kaoru being the tanuki, I believe, and I don't remember what Misao was. I think like a squirrel or something. And you know, she really does though embody that caricature of the fox woman, you know, sly, manipulative, sneaky. You know, she has a whole plan to sneak out in the chaos, and when she does, Kaoru checks her. And I think that this is great dynamic for the two characters. You know, Megumi hasn't really joined the group yet. She's hanging around the dojo, but she's ready to make her escape because she doesn't have any faith in Kenshin and Senosuke. She thinks that the Oniwaban are much better warriors or fighters than Kenshin and Senosuke. And I think it's great though with Kaoru saying, hey, you know, this person is fighting on your behalf. You really do owe him the respect by watching. It's just her checking Megumi. And so it just becomes so much more satisfying when you remember that Megumi will go ahead and check Kaoru during the Kyoto arc. This dynamic that the two characters have being established here just it's good. It's great. And so jumping back to Kenshin himself, the man of the hour, the man with the plan, the man of the narrative, Kenshin, I think, was really smart to assume that because they're dealing with the Oniwaban and dealing with ninjas, that their location was definitely or likely known to them, and that they should expect a confrontation with them. So I think, you know, Kenshin and Senosuke going in at it and saying, all right, so what is the plan? It's just it's smart of Kenshin. It just kind of shows that Kenshin knows the type of people that he's dealing with. He's a seasoned fighter, and it's just another example of it. But, you know, with that, we actually do get to see the Oniwaban make their move. And so moving to the Oniwaban, we actually get to see Hanya and we get to see Hyotoko, who were mentioned in the previous acts. So I'm really liking this thing that Watsuki is doing with name dropping in the previous act and then showing us in the following. You know, Hanya was still kept a secret and Hyotoko was mentioned, but we actually get to see them here. And in this panel here, that's actually really, really cool. There's a line of dialogue here that further makes me believe that maybe the Oniwaban weren't or aren't as close as they will eventually be believed to be, because, you know, Beshimi is trying to call the shots because he's already familiar with Kenshin and he's already has experience dealing with these people, and then they tell him don't order them around. I don't know if maybe that's just their dynamic because Beshimi is already familiar with Kenshin, but it also just the way they talk to him, it also just makes it seem like Beshimi is the runt of the group, that he's not as well respected as everyone else or as they are. It is believed, Megumi says it, that Beshimi is just the low tier player of the Oniwaban. But I don't know, it's just like they're believed to be super close later on, and I'm not really getting that vibe here. I don't know, what do you guys think? Let me know. Hanya disappears. We don't actually even get to see him for the rest of the act, which is interesting enough. It's done by design because we're supposed to forget about him until he eventually does show up. The same thing with Beshimi. Hyotoko is the one that makes the attack, and when reading the act, I was really excited to share with you guys Hyotoko's name, but then the act goes ahead and explains it for me. Gosh. So Hyotoko means fire man. Without Senosuke and Kenshin having yet seen Hyotoko's fighting powers or fighting techniques, they already know what they're in for. And I'm going to assume, because this is the English version of the chapter, and there is no actual kanji shown, that the kanji for Hyotoko looks something like this: fire and man. This kanji right here means fire, and this kanji over here means man. Fire is pronounced hi, and man is pronounced otoko. So if you combine them together, it should mean Hyotoko. Hi otoko. And I guess the final thing that I want to say, because I skipped over him and I remembered him in the middle of the conversation, was Senosuke. Senosuke mentioning to Kaoru that Kenshin is weak for people, even though he's a strong swordsman, and Senosuke not being the same. I think it's just important to note that Senosuke is invested in these developments specifically because he wants revenge on the people who, allowed his friend to overdose or gave him the means to overdose. He's angry, and I see enough of a reason for him to be involved. I do like, though, the dynamic between Senosuke and Kenshin, where Kenshin is in it just purely for the protection or for wanting to do the right thing. But I really like the contrast of Senosuke being angry because you expect Kenshin to be involved for doing the right thing. Senosuke being involved because he's angry, it just adds like a little spice to the mix, a little bit of flavor. Again, so when we actually do get to see Senosuke turn his feelings around on Megumi, it's probably just a little bit more earned because of the animosity, the anger that he feels towards Megumi. And also, I want to say that maybe he was watching the room that Kenshin and Megumi were in, just to keep an eye on her to make sure that she doesn't try to escape, because he doesn't trust her. And I don't see why anybody would when she's clearly holding on to some information and she's not willing to reveal it, as we see. But that was Act 17 of Rurouni Kenshin. If you guys like this video, then consider subscribing to the channel and give a like or comment down below what you guys thought about this channel. What did you guys think of Hyotoko? What do you guys think of the Oniwaban? What did you guys think of Megumi trying to escape and Kaoru stopping her? What do you guys think of my comment about being nice, seeing Kaoru checking Megumi, only for Megumi to later on have the opportunity to check Kaoru? I think it's a little bit of a nice yin and yang. I think that actually there's a whole lot of yin and yang in this act, but I will go ahead and talk to you guys next time. Bye, chan.